Rob, welcome to the show.
Good to be back, Jeff. Thank you.
So last time we were on, we were talking about some of your books and things, and I'd like to talk to you about this book, when it's good. But what made you make a decision about writing this particular book?
Well, and it's interesting, in your intro, you talked about how and why. I've spent close to 30 years telling people how to sell, how to persuade, how to influence, how to change minds. And that's really great if I've got a Dean Witter or Smith Barney broker sitting in front of me. But what about parents, managers? What about acupuncturists and chiropractors and veterinarians? And they need to change minds too. Mm-hmm. And I really thought, well, what's getting in their way? I've written a process. It's a good process. And I kind of doubled back and I thought, I'm not sure they understand why, the moral implications of why we need to do this. Mm-hmm. And so it felt really good kind of diving back in and answering that question.
Well, there's a lot of folks that might be thinking, isn't this sort of manipulation?
I said, particularly when you put it on the cover, The Art of Influence Without Manipulation. And that made the publisher a little bit uncomfortable, but sometimes when we have something that frightens people, we might as well put it out there and get a flashlight on it. Mm-hmm. So you notice it's influence without manipulation. So in a sense, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And I'm an author, so I get to make up the answer because there wasn't a definition. And my answer is very simple. The process doesn't change. It's the intent. Ah. If what I do only serves me, then I'm manipulating you. Mm-hmm. If what I'm doing in my heart truly serves you, then I'm influencing. But the process actually doesn't change.
Interesting. So when I was thinking about the book itself, and I was thinking, there's multiple applications for different people on this, so who can make the best use of this?
I mean this, and actually it makes publishers uncomfortable. The instinct is, I'm going to write a book for the world. Actually, publishers don't like that because they don't know where to put it. And if they feel like if they don't know where to put it, no one's going to be able to find it. But truly, there's a cat and a mouse on the cover. There are no dollar signs. It's not about making more money. So I've been putting together programs. Normally I'm a corporate guy, but I have been putting together programs here in Northern Virginia, and I am getting, like I said, veterinarians. I am getting parents. I'm getting managers, people who need to take their idea, put it in somebody else's brain, and make them feel like they thought of it. Who should we eliminate from that definition? To me, no one. But I needed to write something that would speak to that audience, and I think I have.
How long did it take you to write that thing?
Well, I used to be a marathon runner, and I used to put in a certain amount of miles a week to get ready. I think as a writer, what we do is we put in a certain amount of pages a week. I'm a 10-page a week guy. Mm-hmm. So once I have a nice outline prepared, and I think that's the trick for anybody who actually wants to write a book. Once the outline is prepared and there's a path, it usually takes me about 3 months to get it all down. And one other thing, Jeff, when I'm writing, I don't keep going back and looking at it and analyzing.
Second-guessing
now,
yourself.
I'm a grinder. I'm going to play that hole and move to the next hole and the next hole. And when it's all done, I'll take a look at the course and we'll double back and we'll laugh at me as I've got the same story told in 2 or 3 chapters. But that's okay. At least I'm not paralyzed by constantly reassessing and changing and obsessing over a word or a paragraph or a page. I just let it go.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we're always talking about best practice examples of marketing and advertising, and which made me curious about, what you had planned on marketing this book.
Well, for any author, I can tell you right now, one of the first things we have to do when you market a book is, and I mean, I love my publishers. I love my publishers. But really, they've got a ton of books, and usually one person who's 6 months out of college with a good heart trying to market that book.
Yeah.
The first trick or the key for any author is get ready. Usually the publisher will split it with you, but you bring in an outside publicist and you get somebody proper and good at it. And so I had a very nice publicist on this, and we were in the USA Today and Publishers Weekly, and they really did a nice job of getting the word out, at least the print word. And then there's social media, if you want to hear about that.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that you and I both are in sales in one way or the other as a profession, chosen. But there's a lot of people out there who are somewhat resistant to selling and concepts like this. And I was wondering what your take is on that.
Yeah, well, can you blame them? When we're 16 years old and our knees are knocking, we might wind up on the used car lot for our first car, and who do we meet?
Yeah.
Bless their hearts, Toyota happens to be one of my clients, so I really appreciate and respect the car industry. But there are many different levels, and usually we're going to get hit with kind of a not the best level, and it shapes our perception. But to me, that's kind of sad, because it's just like a bad lawyer or a bad doctor. Does that mean there aren't good doctors and we don't need doctors? We have a bad experience with lawyers, so we really don't need anyone to interpret the law.
Yeah.
We have a bad salesperson. Does that mean we don't have somebody to help us over our fear of change? Of course not. But the reality is, our first contact is right there.
You know, I'm wondering, there's probably people out there right now that are thinking about this book. Where can they get it at?
Well, I'm excited about that. Of course, they can get it at Amazon and in Barnes & Noble and things like that. But the book is, I got to do my first audio book, which was very important to me, because I do have a big sales following. And salespeople are not big readers. They're big listeners. They'll drive through a territory. I got emails for years, book on tape. So we got a book on tape. We got, of course, the e-book as well. But have you ever heard of an enhanced e-book?
No.
It's a new technology that I was allowed to participate in, and it's an e-book for about $2 more with 26 minutes of video in it. And when you're teaching somebody a process of persuasion, imagine how valuable it is to see a role play where it's happening. So I get to tell you, here's what it looks like. Now, here's what it really looks like. So it's really a nice use of technology. I'm proud of it.
Rob Jolles, the book is called How to Change Minds. My goodness, I think I need to pick up a copy, but I want you to autograph it for me.